Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
Hello, GR Dad. How's it going?
Good.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
The cocktail of the week this week is the Bermuda Hundred. That's a good name, right?
Why?
Bermuda Hundred. I don't know why it's called that. They don't tell me that.
Is that 100 proof?
No, the Bermuda Hundred is 1.5 ounces of gin, 1.5 ounces of pineapple juice,
Okay.
Campari, lime juice, orgeat syrup.
This 100 is now puzzling me.
I have no idea why it's called
Is
that.
it metric? In metric, that's 100.
I'm Googling Bermuda Hundred to see if it... Oh, Bermuda Hundred is a town in Virginia.
What now? No, what? No. What?
Bermuda Hundred was the first Oh, this is probably what it's named for. Bermuda Hundred was the first administrative division in the English colony of Virginia. It was founded by Sir Thomas Dale in 1613, 6 years after Jamestown.
Wow.
The terminology Bermuda Hundred also included a large area adjacent to the town. In colonial era, hundreds were large developments of many acres arising from the English term to define an area which would support 100 homesteads.
Oh, that's so weird.
There you go.
That's cool. So it's like an acre, right? What is it? The amount of land that can be plowed by one man and one oxen in one day.
Yeah. But 100 would be way, way bigger than that.
100 would be a bunch of homesteads. Like a bunch of homesteads.
A bunch of them.
Yeah.
Why is it called
bigger.
Bermuda
I don't know. They
100?
came through Bermuda, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. Was Bermuda like...
It was British.
But was it British in 1613?
Yeah, why not? Like,
I mean, I don't know when the Brits got there. And
I don't know. Now they all wear Bermuda
their
pants,
thing.
Bermuda shorts.
The islands of Bermuda are... I know where they are. When did the Brits get in there? Discovery. I mean, all right, here we go. Settlement by the English. 1607.
There you go.
The English began to focus on the New World, initially settling in Virginia, starting the British colonization of North America, establishing a colony at Jamestown.
Mm-hmm.
2 years later, a flotilla of 7 ships left England with several hundred settlers, food and supplies to relieve Jamestown, but the flotilla was broken up, and they ended up in Bermuda.
And settled there.
Yeah.
They're like, this is awesome. Now we can make even more money in here. Like, Bermuda's rich.
I don't think it was then.
Nah. But it can't have been too bad. They stayed there.
Bermuda is named after the Spanish sailor Juan de Bermudez, who discovered, quote unquote, the islands in 1505 while sailing for Spain from a provisioning voyage to Hispaniola in the ship La Garcia.
Oh, so the British didn't discover it under any terms. They just had it. They took it.
The name ultimately is therefore from the Visigothic name Bermude or Veramund.
Get out.
Veramund or Veramund.
Voldemort.
So I still don't know why Bermuda Hundreds ends up, but there you go. We have had quite the history lesson just this early in the pod.
This is much better than like 100 proof Bermuda rum or something. Yeah, this is excellent.
All right, I still don't know why the hell gin and Campari make up the Bermuda 100. I just picked it because it looked like a tasty drink.
It's a good title.
It is a pretty good name.
We have experienced nerdy bartenders. This is some nerdy bartender who's like, hey, I know something.
I think I would be a good nerdy bartender.
You would be much better than the nerdy bartender we had, who was very good at nerdy, but he wasn't good with people that much.
He was not enthusiastic about his nerdy presentations.
He was very nerdy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also very nerdy, but I am enthusiastic.
Yes. He lacked some of the zazz.
Not the most charismatic bartender. I mean, I liked the guy. But
he was very nice.
Yeah.
But it took a while to realize that.
Yes. He's not dead. We're talking about him in the past tense. He's not dead. He's just not a bartender anymore. I believe he's a computer programmer now.
Yes, he remains a very nice guy.
Which suits him, I think. All right. Well, there you go. That's our cocktail of the week.
This was a great detour.
Yeah, this was fun. Okay. It's time for Administrative Corner.
Excellent. I love Administrative Corner.
So we have 2 items on Administrative Corner. The first is actually administrative, which is if you ordered a Voodoo New Challenge medal and you haven't gotten it yet,
Administratively, let us know.
Let us know. A few people have reached out and been like, I haven't got my medal yet. And I have tracking numbers for all the medals, and I track them, and it's like label created and not scanned. So it seems like the post office just lost some of them.
Oh, come on.
So we are going tomorrow. We're driving back to Maryland, which we'll talk about later.
To Florida. From Maryland.
I'm sorry, from Maryland to Florida. And when we get home this weekend, I will pack up any missing medals. So just let us know. And I just need something to be able to look up your label in my system. So like tell me the name or the address. I don't need like the PayPal receipt or anything. I just need to be able to go into my like stamps.com account and find it.
Yeah, don't just make it a complete secret.
I mean, some people I can tell who you are
Guess
from
who?
your username.
I'm not telling you who I am, but my label's gone.
Sometimes it's like at Fairy Duster 178, and I was like, okay, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry.
At Golden Ratio Lover #1.
Yeah, I don't think there's one of those accounts, but someone should get it. But it should be like LOVR.
All right, that one I would remember, and so that's not a good example.
So anyway, let us know if you didn't get your medal. We'll send you another one. We bought plenty of backups exactly for this because the Keys post office always loses some of the stuff.
I've been modeling them and taking selfies with them.
Have you?
No.
Oh.
But hypothetically, I could. We have hundreds.
You could. We could make a full outfit out of medals at this point.
Yeah, it would be heavy like chainmail, but probably impervious to, crossbow bows.
Potentially.
Crossbow bolts.
Bolts.
Say that 3 times. I just tried.
Bolts.
Crossbow bolts.
The second item on Administrative Corner is there's another thing that a million people have been sending me, and it is the Keel James Patrick 12-foot skeleton video. Have you seen it?
Wait, the day in the life of the 12-foot skeleton where he gets a girlfriend and they both buy sweaters
and pumpkin spice lattes.
That is awesome.
So a lot of people are like, I can't believe the effort that went into this, but Keel James Patrick is a brand. Like
really?
Yes, they're the ones who.
Sweater?
So it's clothes basically. They got really famous for these like rope bracelets. They're based in Cape Cod.
So effort did go into it, but it was paid labor.
It's corporate effort. Yeah, they're the ones who have like everything is like perfect New England fall. Like everyone's in plaid, the lawns are mowed, but there's a tasteful smattering of leaves. There's like golden retrievers and like mostly white people.
Well-brushed golden retrievers.
Well-brushed golden retrievers, mostly white people, but like just the appropriate number of like black couple to be their friends.
You're not selling this.
It's kind of dystopian.
Really in a good way.
It's very beautiful and Instagrammable.
It's like Land's End, but worse, or not Land's End.
Land's End, like turned up, where it's like the beautiful, like brick colonial house on a sprawling green lawn, like with golden light coming out of the windows, and
so it's almost off-brand for them to have something quirky like these skeletons.
Well, they go a little quirky in fall. They're very well known if you follow this corner of like Instagram, where they get these big ass pumpkins and they cut holes out of the bottom and they put them on their heads. So they've got these like autumnal
so that's
sweaters.
why the Starbucks guy was with the pumpkin head.
Yes. So the pumpkin head thing. So they do these like family portraits where everybody's got a jack-o'-lantern stuck on their head.
That's dystopian and / moving into scary territory, actually.
This is their thing.
Only a matter of time before someone gets a big knife and starts chasing everyone else around.
They all drive. They've got a small fleet, 3 or 4 of these like 1930s Woody.
The Jeeps.
The skeleton's driving one of it.
That's not a Woody, but that's an old Willie Jeep. Yeah.
No, not a Willie's Jeep like a World War II. Like a wood stripe panel along the side.
The Skellies are driving just a Jeep.
They've got a vintage thing.
I'm a car guy.
I know.
It's a very small Jeep.
It looks small because the skeletons are 12 feet tall.
Maybe true. Although I don't think they have the legs in there. I think they artificially make them real short in those Jeeps.
It's hard to tell. But anyway, it is a great video. I mean, KJP, I've got some of their clothes. That dress that I have with like the tennis rackets and the tennis balls on it, that's from them. That's one of their summer dresses. I've got a couple. It's very, very preppy. It's very like peak New England.
It kind of hurts my teeth to think of it something that preppy. I don't know why. It just seems real tense.
That's what it is. So
I thought preppy died, but I guess it was always in New England.
Absolutely did not.
And it's still always in New England. It's just the preppy in Ohio died.
The
fact that preppy was everywhere died.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings. Like I like a lot of their stuff, but sometimes like, it's just Like it's too loud.
Stepford.
Like could you turn it all down? Like it's
Stepford wives.
like a 1 to 10. It's like a 13, and I need you to bring it down like a 6. You know?
It's very. That sounds.
Stepford's is a little more like 50s perfect, and this is not that. It's much like Stepford isn't preppy. Stepford is like 50s housewife kind of thing. This is full on preppy, like long sleeve plaid, jumper dresses, knee length. There's a lot of fireplaces.
Pink shirts, khakis.
Kind of. You got to go look at it. I mean, you're listing preppy.
Yeah.
KJP's kind of their own flavor of it.
KJP.
Keel James. Their handle is at KJP.
We just watched Forge and Fire, so when I hear Keel James Captain Patrick, I'm thinking Kill James Patrick, and I'm like, this is a whole different movie now.
Anybody who has a handle that's 3 characters is a brand.
Or a serial killer.
No. A social media handle.
Oh, yeah? What? Is this an unwritten rule?
I mean, just like, do you know any like actual people who have 3-letter handles? No, it's all
NPH.
But that's not his handle.
No.
It's like
I think so.
real.
It's the real
like
NPH.
The real NPH. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So.
Because some brand took NPH.
Or organizations, right? Back in the day, like when I was doing web design when I was in college, there was like this very big market where you would like buy domain names and then try to sell them for $1 million because people thought like, you know, airline.com, like I'm going to be rich if I have airline.com because that's what everybody's going to go to.
Still a thing, yeah.
But like it's not, like it's fine if you've just got like Trivago, right? You just like make a thing up. People will remember the brand.
Oh,
they
just
don't need
rename the
airlines.com.
name. You just change the name.
I think, you know, people thought at the time, like, one, nobody's going to, like, search engines sucked.
That was a big thing.
Search engines sucked.
The name was important when there was no search.
Yeah, and so they were like, well, no one's going to remember. Like, I remember telling my boss, I was doing web design at the university, and we were talking something about, like, Club Med. And I think we were like, we're going to make some joke page or something about Club Med. So I went to like clubmed.com and he's like, I can't believe like, you know, that Club Med is clubmed.com. And I was like, what the fuck else would it be?
Was it like he scandalized? Because it was
Nobody,
like a couples thing.
Like my high school boyfriend was super impressed with himself. Now this is when we were both in college, right? So we had broken up, but he worked for my parents.
Yep.
And so I would still see him all the time.
Yep.
And it was never like a great interaction. There's a lot of like, look how awesome I am. And he was like very impressed with himself that he knew like the URL for Yahoo. He's like, it's yahoo.com. I don't have to go. Which now like sounds so dumb.
I'm sorry, that sounds incredibly dumb all around. Like Yahoo is already created for that, right?
It's yahoo.com. Yeah. But he was like real impressed that he had like 10 URLs memorized.
I mean, if you know that, it's more impressive to know that like General Motors Company is GMC.com. That is the fact that it's Yahoo and it's yahoo.com is not that impressive.
It is not that impressive.
He's the one who gave himself a nickname to make it sound awesome. Make himself sound awesome.
He nicknamed himself HD.
Yes.
Which stood for hard drive because that's how good his memory was.
Narrator's voice. It did not stick.
He was the only one who called himself. It's so sad.
It doesn't work. Nicknaming yourself almost never works.
No.
And he was never cool enough to be close to making it work.
You don't even know him. I mean, you're right. But
the stories speak for themselves.
Yeah. Anyway, it was like people generally didn't memorize URLs. Like putting a .com or like a www at the beginning was very weird for people in the 90s. It was like, they'd be like www.yahoo.com / and I was like, it's not a backslash. It's never a line. It's always a forward slash. Yeah. So at the time, everyone was like, well, like on AOL, right, which people were a little more familiar with, because if you were on the internet, you probably were on AOL.
Right.
You couldn't go easily to just a website on AOL at the time, but there were AOL keywords.
Oh.
And you would try to have like the AOL keyword for your web page, and that's how people would get to it on AOL. They would just put in the keyword. I mean, it was kind of like a search engine, like airline, and then they'd see like the AOL pages, which were different than web pages, sort of.
It would be like compilation pages.
I mean, you could have an AOL page. Like, it was a whole thing. And so
Wow.
people thought you get really rich because, like, nobody's going to remember, like, United.com or AA.com or Southwest.com. Like, that's all weird. But if I get airline.com, if someone wants to book an airline ticket, they're just going to come there. And
wow.
I mean, some of these sold for like $1 million for like travel.com or
That's
something.
money wasted.
And it was just like some rando who'd be like, I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy McDonald's.com. I think the brand names eventually, like, there was some lawsuit that you couldn't hold the domain name for a trademarked phrase or something like
Trademark trumps. That's
Yeah.
that's true today if I can, yeah.
that. So anyway, how did we even get? Oh, so like 3-letter ones, real hard to get is basically it because
All right,
people
so
were buying them all.
LJP is that what it is? Is that what we're talking about?
KJP.
KJP is all right, fair enough. So it's a company, they made the skeleton video and they have money.
And they have money. So it's not just a person who did this. No discredit to Kill James Patrick. They did a great job. It's a very funny video. And it is extremely well produced. But it's not just like some person who did the effort for that.
And I don't think it has any, I mean, unless you're an insider, it has hints, but it has no labeling that that's an ad for these guys.
They just put it on their TikTok. I mean, they do a great job with their social media. Whether or not it's your taste is a different thing.
Right.
But they do a very good job. And this was just they put it on their TikTok, and the video people are showing is just the downloaded TikTok.
Anyway, it's great. Oh, people have sent you this. This is how we get back.
1,000 people have sent it to me. I love it. Keep sending me stuff like that. Also, a friend of the squad pointed me to the 12-foot skeleton owners group on Facebook, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a group of people who own 12-foot skeletons and love them. They all call them skellies.
Oh, it's like a Jeep, lover Facebook.
Yes,
They
it
talk
is.
about how to modify them like Jeeps, mod them, and do things with them.
Yeah, I think the one that I'm most into, so everybody's real into putting a light within the rib cage to light your skeleton. It looks really cool.
Gotta do the red glowy heart.
So there's a discussion of, some people have found flame light bulbs.
Oh,
and then like you've got to run, you can't just screw a light bulb in there. You got to run a wire, you plug something in, run a cord up there that you can screw the light into. What's the best bracket to like hold it into the rib cage? How do you hide the wire?
Like a car modification or like a car lover's thing, right? Like, what do I do with my 65 Mustangs, folding roof or whatever? Yeah.
There's one guy who made a disco skelly, so he covered the whole thing in like little disco ball mirrors.
And that looked tedious. There's a lot of mirrors
amazing
on that
though.
big
It
skelly.
looks so
It looks
cool.
amazing, but it looks like one of those skulls. What are those? What did you call them? There was like Damien Hirst or something had like these mirrored skulls too.
There was someone on there who I joined this group a couple days ago, yesterday maybe, and someone was like posting the completion of their pink painted 12-foot skeleton. They painted the whole thing pink and put up. It looked very cool.
Very cool.
I thought it was on Hawaii. And then a different friend of the squad was like, I did a drive around the island of Guam yesterday and I saw a 12-foot skeleton, and they posted a picture of the pink 12-foot skeleton that I already knew from the 12-foot skeleton owners group on Facebook, because I now am basically Facebook pals with the guy who did that in Guam.
Guam, not Hawaii. Guam.
No, it was Guam.
Probably in the army.
So there you go.
There you go.
Pretty cool. They have there's, I think, skellyparts.com, which redirects to an Etsy page with 3D printed skelly replacement
that's like
brackets.
Mopar. That's like parts for your car.
It's great. I love it.
You can get
floodlights
or something.
I have all
This
kinds
is
of cool
so
ideas.
much like a car website.
I was sending stuff to Ingo. I was like, look, these people have a blue spotlight
I know,
and then an orange internal light. It looks really cool.
That looked cool. We have a white spotlight on ours, and that looked cool until we saw these. Now
we got to up our
a little
game.
boring.
We got to up our game.
I know.
I found, so people have shared the light that they use, which is this you can control. So it's a flat panel, and it shines a really bright light, but it looks kind of like an iPad size.
Goodness.
It shines a light, but you've got a remote control, or you can control it from your phone. So you can do whatever color you want, or you can have it do rainbow rotation, just like our fancy light bulbs.
Yeah, I just want to say, the light that we had pointing at our skeleton ended up 2 feet under 2 feet of salt water, and now didn't work, so I had to get a new one.
I know.
So I'm not sure I want a sensitive light panel out there in the elements with like lizards and birds and whatever else might.
A lot of discussion is
come ashore.
How waterproof and outdoor friendly is this stuff, and does it hold up to the wind?
How about salt?
Yeah. Ours will get salt sprayed for sure.
No kidding.
All right.
I have another thing for administrative corner.
You have an administrative corner item? Wow.
Yeah, always the element of surprise. No, it's a tone of surprise.
Wow.
The Hopper plushies are scheduled to ship on October 22nd. Now, that's a couple days, Friday. This is just according to them. So
that's what they
haven't
say.
said anything else. Everyone who's ordered one directly knows this because they send out emails.
Yep.
But for those who are getting a donated one, they would not know this because
you placed all 150 orders.
Out of convenience, I used my email instead of like trying to text everyone or whatever and say, "What's your email?" So I'm getting 100 and whatever emails now from every round. So they say they're going to ship on the 22nd and it should be there in time, well in time for the holidays. Of course.
Yeah,
which holidays we don't know. Could be there in time for Thanksgiving, but definitely for the big holiday, for the other holidays.
For most people, it's like 7 to 10 days after it ships to arrive, and then if you're in a far-flung corner of the globe, it may be longer.
Which some people are,
for sure.
I mean, these are being flung far and wide. These getting yeeted very far.
It would be interesting to do like a map.
Yeah, have them like render the little, loops where people where they fly to different countries. And Philippines, Australia. I don't know if there's Guam. Not one of these 100. But
I did one to Guam.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
That's probably going with the 6-foot skull. No.
It's a 12-foot skeleton.
Pink 12-foot skull.
12 feet, not 6.
It's pink.
Okay.
There you go. That was a legitimate administrative core item. This wasn't rambling.
Highly administrative.
This wasn't dog horn information. Full on administrative.
Excellent work.
Noted for the record, please.
Good job.
I did something right.
Perfectly administrative. You did a great job.
I'm just going to sit here pleased the rest of the night.
Excellent. Are you ready for dog updates?
Am I ready? I don't know. I might not be ready, but proceed anyway.
All right. Do you want to talk about Cheddar or the boys in couples therapy first? We got a new dog, you guys.
We haven't done anything since we got Cheddar.
No. We got a new dog and his name is Cheddar.
Clearly more interesting.
Yeah.
He doesn't know it yet. His name is Cheddar.
He does not know a lot.
He doesn't really respond to Cheddar.
So shortly before the Chicago Marathon, which was like a week and a half ago.
This is kind of a long, convoluted story with no great resolution.
I think that's right. I was like, Ingo, 6 dogs is a lot. And I know we kind of got 3 on the way out, right? Like Brody is 12. He doesn't have any serious problems, but like you never know with a 12-year-old.
He's a good boy.
Hop's doing fine right now, but they gave her 6 to 18 months and we're on like month 16. And she's doing fine, but we sort of had a hint with her arm sprain before that like she's pretty fragile. So we're not expecting anything to happen anytime soon, but we also don't think we're going to have her for another 3 years. Remy, he's got cancer. It hopefully is going to be fine, but he does have cancer. So, we have no immediate plans to lose these dogs, but I was just like, maybe 5 is really the right number, which I think is a thing I've said before.
This always leads to disaster when you say this is not enough, or we can't handle anymore, or right. I miss the days where we had 4, and then a picture appears of a dog with a sweet, sweet face. A picture appears.
I haven't
in one
said
of your
no to
inboxes
any dogs.
With the picture, where you've seen the picture.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter. There's always a picture. So
yes.
I say this to Ingo. I think 5 is probably the right number. And then like 2 days later, I get an email and I just see the from. The from is from Mary C., who is the intake coordinator for our rescue group. And she only emails if she has a dog that she wants me to take.
She's like, not friends. She just has transactions. I mean, she's a friend. She's nice
lovely.
Too,
but
this
yes.
is like the friend that shows up whenever they need money, or the, funny. What do you need? What do you want?
I just see the message in the inbox. I don't click on it, and I go, oh fuck no, fuck no. And then I click on the email, and the email is, Jen, would you be available to take this dog as a foster? And I'm like, nope. And it's like, he's 10 years old. I was like, okay. He was found sitting in the middle of the road in West Virginia, like someone had dumped him. And I was like, that's sad. And then skip ahead 10 seconds if you don't want to hear the same thing I said in the tweet, which was his nose was all swollen, and the person who found him took him to the vet, and the vet said it looks like somebody punched him in the face and broke his nose. And I was like, now I must take this dog. And then I see the picture, and I gotta say, of all the pictures, it's the crappiest picture we've ever gotten.
Of him, compared to him, yes.
Of any dog.
True.
Right? Like, it was a real close, it was like all face, and like the side of his face. And I was like, yes, I will take this dog.
Yeah, it's fine. No one else wants him, and no one else did.
And he's blind.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we got him, because he's blind.
Old and blind.
And so I'm like, fine. And so there's a lot of rigmarole trying to figure out how the dog is going to get from West Virginia to us. And there's some
short of me picking him up, which is not the first preferred option by me, but it always would be an option.
So there was someone in West Virginia who I think had previously found a golden that she turned over to Great. And she had said before, if you ever need a golden transported from West Virginia, I would be happy to bring them to Charlottesville, Virginia, which saves us about 4 hours of driving.
That's a 3-hour drive right there, yeah.
So we finally got it all set up that we were going to meet her in Henrico, which is kind of in between. did I say that right?
Yeah.
Henrico?
Yeah.
It's between Richmond and Charlottesville. So it's a couple hours, 2.5 hours from here. Mm-hmm. And because she was going to be there for something else anyway. So she, like, the night before, picked up the dog from the person who had found him, had him stay overnight at her house, gave him a bath because he smelled so bad, and then drove him to Henrico, where we met him, and picked him up and brought him home. And he's in the car, and I was like, this dog smells so bad.
Yeah,
he smells so bad.
Guy.
And he has fleas. Like, you can see the fleas.
Oh my God. They were just bouncing off of him. It was almost like a cartoon.
We get him in the backyard.
Gadoing, gadoing, gadoing.
Fleas. Like
freaking
a billion fleas.
Happy, gleeful little fleas, the little bastards.
So normally what you do, and this is a good pro tip for anyone, there's a medicine called Capstar, which, like, I think used to be prescription, but you can buy it on Amazon now. And it kills all the fleas on a dog in an hour. So it's great.
That's awesome. I just picture them being like expelled from the dog.
I had one dog like with fleas like this, and I brought her to my vet's office, and they gave her the pill in the office, and the fleas were dead by the time we got home. It's a great medicine. But this was a Sunday, and so there was no place for us to get Capstar. I tried to get some from Amazon, and it's like it would have been 2 days to get here.
No, he's got the fleas now.
Yeah, so you can give the normal flea and tick NexGard, which is our flea and tick, and that'll kill them in 8 hours. So it's not quite as fast, but they're gone fast enough. So we gave him a NexGard, and then we gave him a flea bath. Like, we got some flea shampoo, and we gave him a big, thorough flea bath.
Out in the yard with a hose, yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, a few hours later, all the fleas had migrated to his face.
Oh, it was terrible. You'd be petting his head, and these fleas would be weaving in and out of his face hair.
You'd see him, like, come up out of the fur, and he'd be there a flea, and then it would, like, sink back down. Even just, like, on his snoop with the little...
Oh, it was
tiny
terrible.
thing. They were everywhere.
So I was like, all right, more flea shampoo.
We're both sitting there just, like, squishing fleas that crawl out of his face. At one point, I was like, I feel like there's fleas all over me. And I went in the bathroom, and I had fleas on my head.
Terrible.
There were fleas on me.
I think I've found dead fleas on some of the other dogs, although they could just be leaf bits because they roll around here a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, he got a second flea bath on his face. And... but even at that point, so he'd had 2 baths. He'd had the first non-flea bath with the transporter, and then he had the flea bath with us. And he was staying down in the basement, and I went down there. Inga was down with him, and I went down, and I was like, oh my God, the whole basement smells so bad. This dog smells so bad. So then the next day I gave him another bath, and then I sprayed him with the Nature's Miracle, like, make your dog smell better spray, which we have a whole bunch of. We got it for CB because he was smelling like an old sock for a while.
Yeah.
So I sprayed him with like a teen boy using Axe body spray, just all over the place.
Yeah.
Now he smells pretty much normal.
He did smell kind of like a rag that never dried, or like
Oh, it was bad.
was left
Sour
in the
milk.
left in the washer for a few days, and
Yeah.
then got sort of nasty. Yeah,
But
poor
like
guy.
really strong.
Poor guy had been, and he had knots
Oh,
all
the
over his fur, like
mats.
matted fur. He was clearly not well taken care of, whether that's lack of attention or it was lack of ability by the owner or whoever, give him up. I don't know, but he was you were clear, like, dear Lord, this dog has not gotten the minimum of attention.
No, I mean, they were like, the mats on the back of his legs were like the size of tennis balls. He had like ping pong ball size mats inside the pads of his back feet.
Yeah, it was like I think it did impede his walking. He was walking more like stickly at first.
Yeah. I shaved like half of his side because just like everything was matted together. I mean, we still haven't gotten them all out, but there were all of these giant mats and then more kind of dreadlocky ones. Yeah. So when we finally brought him to the vet, I was like, he's got a lot of bald patches because I just had to shave everything. Like there was nothing to do. I just shaved it off. Yeah. We actually broke the clippers shaving all the patches off of him.
Well, no loss there. They're my old beard clippers, so you're probably happy to get rid of those.
Yeah. Just mats everywhere. So mats and fleas. Filthy.
And yet he was the sweetest boy. Consistently.
Oh my God.
Sweet.
So he's blind. He has cataracts, so he can see maybe a little bit of light and shadow, but not much. He bonks into stuff.
He's bonkier than Remy is now, certainly. Yeah. But he's pretty. He can sort of stay out of doorways if he sees them.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's real cautious, and as the vet said, he kind of hugs the wall.
He likes to hug the wall. Yeah. But he does love me. Anytime he hears my voice, he
loves
starts
you
wagging.
More than me. And I don't know if, again, he has good experience with women or bad with guys, but he certainly lights up when you talk to him, and he follows your voice in a way that he doesn't with mine.
Yeah. I went down there after he got fixed, which is jumping a little ahead, but I went down to see him, and he started wagging. He was real tired and sore, and like I laid down next to him, and he like hooked his little paw over me.
So
and
adorable.
Even he's like falling asleep, but he's still wagging his tail because I'm
that was
him.
So nice.
He
yeah, with me, he's like, I acknowledge you. Thanks for feeding me and stuff, but I'm just gonna hang out here. It's cool. It's cool.
So anyway, so we got him on a Sunday, and it's like, okay, so this dog needs a ton of help, and we didn't know this when we got him. He is intact.
Yes, we figured that out right away when I was petting him.
I was like, Ingo, is he fixed? Could you check, please? And Ingo's like, oh, nope, he sure is not. So I was like, how?
I think I said, sorry, Cheddar. No, he's not.
So I'm like, this is a problem. We've brought non-fixed dogs in before, most notably Remy. It does not go well because they hump everything. And Guac is up here on the couch, like trying to get Ingo to tug his blow high.
I'm not tugging anything, especially not a blow eye.
Guac, stop it. You're going to unplug the pod equipment. Guac, stop it.
This is so unprofessional, Guac.
So we're like, okay, I'm like, we got to get this dog fixed. I mean, we need to get him to a vet, period. Because if he's this neglected, who knows what's wrong?
He needs to be checked. We need to do blood work. And we were like, they have Lyme disease up here, right? They have ticks. So I'm sure he has that.
Oh my God, Guac. I got to move the pod box here because he's going to unplug it.
Need to get him to a vet. That was a priority with his... You knew he hadn't been at the vet for a long time.
Yeah. And we need to get him fixed because the last thing we need in the house, which we'll talk about...
Or the RV.
Second, or the RV, is more tension because the dog is humpy. But like I had called our vet before we even picked him up, and I was like, we're getting this new dog. Can I get him in? And they're like, yeah, October 30th. And I was like, no.
What?
Like,
no. This is an emergency.
Everybody's backed up. But... friend of the squad, board member of the Golden Ratio Foundation, Jen Coleslaw, is like, my vet just opened a new clinic like a few weeks ago. It just opened.
And I have an in.
And so on Sunday, I think she's basically texting with the vet, and he's like, I can fix him on Tuesday. And I was like, we're there, even though it's like an hour and a half from our house.
Absolutely.
So we got him on Sunday. On Monday, we drove him out to get his checkup. And they did his blood work and everything. And then we drove him home. And then on Tuesday, meaning Ingo, drove him back and dropped him off to get fixed. his blood work and stuff was pretty much fine.
His blood, most of his tests were exemplary. The vet's like, they're just, his values are great. I wish I had all his blood values.
So he did test positive for Lyme, but it's on the quick test. So that basically, if you've had Lyme before, you'll test positive on that test forever.
Yeah.
And they're like, he doesn't, really have Lyme. He's not sick now, so we don't have to treat it. But he does have roundworms, which is an intestinal parasite. So hopefully he doesn't have him anymore. We gave him a dewormer, but that's all we had to do. He didn't have heartworm. He didn't have any other
Thank goodness he didn't have
tick diseases.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always lucky when they've been neglected like that.
The vet was like, the fact that he has roundworm these days just means he didn't get not even the most basic of care.
He clearly, I mean, when you gave him the flea bath on his face to get the remaining fleas,
yeah,
like the water ran brown.
He not had his face washed maybe a long time or
maybe ever.
Yeah.
So his blood values were fine. On Tuesday morning, we dropped him off to get neutered, and he had a tough time with the anesthesia, and the vet was like, he's a lot older than you think he is. And we thought he was 10, which is pretty old. But like now, like having watched him a bit, I go, yeah, he probably is. Old dogs can be old in a variety of ways, but he does seem very old.
I mean, he acts way older than Brody.
So the vet actually kept him overnight just to keep an eye on him and make sure everything was fine. So he came home yesterday, which is Wednesday, and he's doing good.
Again, Jennifer Coleslaw visited him at the vet.
She
and
sent us pictures, called us with updates.
Very crucial part of this operation.
I like that you just made her very formal there with the full on Jennifer Coleslaw instead of just Jen Coleslaw.
Sure.
Yeah. So we got him home, and he was real sleepy yesterday. And then last night he started deciding to lick his incision, which he's not allowed to do. So I tried putting the cone on him, but he's blind. And so the cone widens the space that he can bonk into stuff.
And stops him, right? It's like yeah. It prevents him from proceeding.
Yes.
Luck? Never mind. Everything's fine.
He's full on like laying on the power cord.
It's nice and warm.
What a terrible dog. Yeah, so the cone was like not great for him. We have a little donut, which you may have seen on Remy in the snaps. That didn't stop him from licking. I tried putting a T-shirt on his butt. He found a way around
I'm impressed by your ingenuity here, because I thought the T-shirt would be the sort of stopgap measure if the cone doesn't work and if all the other stuff doesn't work.
Yeah, he found a way.
I'm impressed.
So I was like, we are not in the Florida Keys. We are in Maryland. I can get shit delivered here overnight.
In hours.
And I'm like, Instacart, go to Petco and get me a thing. And they're like, we don't have any of those things. I was like, can we get him a onesie? Because we have onesies in Florida. We didn't bring any with us. And they don't have any. And Amazon has them, but they're, it's like we can deliver them in 3 days. And I was like, we need something. And then I found dog diapers on Amazon, which they would deliver overnight. And the dog diaper is basically as good as a onesie. It just covers the bits. So the ones I have are probably a size too small. They look like teeny little hot pants on him.
And they also have a very small hole for the tail. Like his tail is very fluffy, so you're kind of like pulling it through with some resistance.
Shove it through there.
Yeah.
It would not. They're female diapers, which just means funny. They don't go as far forward because the females like pee from the back end, and like his junk sticks out the front of it, but it covers the incision, which is all that matters.
But in theory, he could pee with his diapers on.
He could,
because he's a dude in a female diaper.
Yep.
But it's perfect for us because it covers up the incision perfectly.
Came overnight. It was here by like 8 a.m.
That's right. That's another reason it's perfect. It was here.
That's really what mattered. I would have ordered the bigger size. I would have ordered a male one. I would have got a onesie, but whatever. These were coming overnight, and so he didn't have to have the cone on, and it's great. It totally has stopped him from licking the thing, and he doesn't have to wear the cone. So that's like the medical process. Just in terms of how he is, very fuzzy man.
He's very fuzzy.
He's got a very fuzzy head.
Yeah, he's very fluffy.
He's very tentative, obviously, because he's blind. He picks his feet up a lot. He walks a lot like Remy did when we first got him, actually.
Yeah.
He's got some arthritis in his back. Like the first day I was like, do you know how to sit? And I was like, sit. And he's absolutely does not know the command.
Blink, blink.
And so I tried just like gently pushing his butt down, and just a really gentle push on his butt. You heard all this like crackling in his back. So he's got some arthritis and stuff going on back there. But not bad. He walks okay.
The vet said his hips are okay, right? Like it's
got a
really
range of
arthritis. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he can go up the stairs and down the stairs. He's very tentative to do it now. And when he goes up, you can see that he tries to like bunny hop his back legs, like hop both back legs at the same time instead of one at a time.
We have a Vink who does that.
Yeah. And we were saying just before we sat down to podcast, he's got a certain level of old dog dementia. Like he's not all with it. And it's not just that he's like kind of freaked out and doesn't know what's going on. You can tell he's just not all there, which would suggest he's a lot older than 10.
Yeah.
I mean, not that 10-year-olds can't be like that, but he does
so
seem like
weird
a pretty old dog.
that you can't figure out how old a dog is.
They need rings.
Yeah, they need rings or a birth certificate that they carry around or something. I mean, he can't talk, so he doesn't know, but still.
One of the worries that we had is that when we had him in at the vet on Monday for his checkup, they scanned him for a chip, and he had a chip. And we were like, oh, no.
What the heck? How is he given up for rescue, right, if he has a chip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the first people who get him, but somebody found him on the road, and you'd think she at least brought him to the vet to get his nose checked out. Wouldn't you scan for a chip? And it's from what the intake person said, she tried very hard to find an owner. She put up posters and posted him online. Nobody claimed him. But we were like, we're not giving this dog back.
Right. Actually, yes. It didn't matter.
And so I called the medical coordinator, and I was like, this dog has a chip. Do you want to look it up and see what you can do? So they looked it up, and the chip is unregistered. So apparently a lot of breeders will chip the dogs when they're puppies, and then when you adopt them, they already have the chip in them, and you just have to like go register it. But a lot of people just don't bother registering it, so it's kind of pointless to have the chip then. But that's what it was with him. No one had registered the chip, so no one's going to try to get him back.
And this went to the rescue from someone who'd found him on the road.
On the road.
So it wasn't like he was found and then given to the rescue. No, she had him for a little while and then gave him to the rescue.
Yeah. Because it sounds like, she recognized that he needed more care than just like, oh, he's just a dog who can hang out at my house. Like, he's blind and, old and not all with it and, needs attention.
And, yeah.
So, yeah, he's, so Remy and Nacho are off at couples therapy, which we'll talk about in a minute, but they're not here. And so Cheddar has been spending a lot of time in the basement, but today we have had him upstairs with all the other 4 dogs, and they're all doing great.
There's almost no interaction. He's not really that interested in them. He initially, the first 18 hours, he would try to hump them because he was just freaked.
Yeah.
Right now, he's really doesn't have any interest in interacting with them. I think he's pleased that they're here. He's not hostile. He's not angry. But he's just sleeping a lot, which he probably has to catch up on.
He's an old man.
Yeah.
The person who tuned him over said he was a couch potato, that he's like friendly and nice, but he mostly just sleeps.
He's not on the couch.
Fair enough. But I was saying to Inga, I'm like, we don't need 7 dogs. And yet this is actually the kind of dog that we want. This is the sort of dog that we signed up to do this work for.
We could do 7 if they were like this.
If they were all like this, absolutely.
Couch potato, quiet dogs. I haven't heard him bark yet.
He's got a little like howf.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, he's good. He seems like he's gonna be pretty low maintenance, knock on wood. So we do have an appointment for him to go to the ophthalmologist next week. Remy is going to the oncologist in Miami, and I was like, Ingo, if you're going to Miami, do you want me to get him into the ophthalmologist? And the ophthalmologist just happens to only have very early morning appointments, but that happens to work great with the oncologist. So you're doing a full day in Miami of
with 2 dogs,
medical stuff. Ophthalmologist and oncologist, 2 dogs.
Yep. Fair enough.
So we'll see if they can do anything. He's not diabetic, but he does have cataracts, and so potentially he could get the surgery that we've talked about with the other dogs, where for at least one eye they give him some vision back. But we'll see what they say. The fact that he didn't do well with the anesthesia on his neuter is not a great sign that they would do surgery again with these cataracts. They're very, very conservative about doing that cataract surgery. They really don't want to do it if there's any risk at all.
Which makes sense. Don't make everything else worse for some. And it sounds like the after the surgery, the eyes are really fragile, right? So they don't want an infection. They don't want, any trauma to the eye, because it'll just undo everything.
Yep. Yeah, and it can be painful, and then you have to remove the eye and do another surgery. So it's like, he's fine blind. Why are you going to, take all of these risks? So my guess is that they won't do surgery, but they might have other stuff that they can do that will help, like they did with, Remy. Even if his cataracts hadn't started dissolving, one of his eye drops is a thing that dilates his eyes, so he can see a little bit around the cataracts. It gives him a little bit better vision.
Right.
So they may have some stuff like that to do. Anything I'm forgetting with Cheds?
He likes playing with you now. Like, you actually got him to play and respond and be playful.
A couple times I'm like, you want me to smack your face? And he's like, kind of maybe. And he like hops around a little bit.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Him hopping is a big thing. Yeah.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
He's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Nice old dog. This is, if they were all like, the house without Nacho and Remy here has been really nice the last couple days.
The dynamic, the vibe is much better.
The vibe is much better.
Oh my God. Having either Nacho or Remy might be okay, but having both of them is just exponentially more complicated right now.
Yeah. So let's talk about them. So I think on the last podcast I was like, yeah, Nacho had done camp, and then when Michael brought Nacho back from camp, as soon as we let all the other dogs out, and he and Remy had a fight. And so he and Remy have had another fight since then. Ingo, I think you were gone. You were out with some people.
Your finger got nipped.
Yeah. So I was trying to get somebody to go out, I think. And both Nacho and Remy were like standing at the door when I don't know if it was Hops or Brody, but I was trying to get somebody out who it was like a process to get them to go outside. And Nacho and Remy are standing in the door, and I was like, get outside, like move it. And they like take 2 steps and like are still standing in the door. And I was like, get out of here, like move it down the steps, like yelling at them aggressively. And they're like, oh fuck. Okay. So they both start going down the stairs, and I think they bumped into each other, and they were, both like very excited, like not happy excited, but just like agitated because I was like, get the fuck out of the way. And bumped into each other and then went at it. And I was here alone, so I'm trying to break up this fight. All the other fights has been one person on each dog,
right?
And here it's just me. And so Michael had given some tips, and I just sort of like grabbed the dog closest to me, like trying to get them to break it up. And I think I was holding on to Remy, and Nacho let go and came in for another chomp and got my thumb instead of Remy. So it's pretty sore now. It's not infected. It broke the skin, but just barely. I kind of got a deep scrape on either side of my thumb. As soon as he realized he had me in his mouth, he let go. I mean, he just like barely touched me. But it's still not good. And I was like, we cannot have this. Like,
you jerks. Yeah.
I am very lucky that I didn't actually get hurt, right? Because I absolutely could have been chomped hard and, had it do damage. And the option is what? Like, we're just going to let them fight? Like, I've had a dog, my dog Kay got in a fight with the dog of a guy I was dating, and had to go to the vet, like was bleeding all over the place. I still find blood droplets from her because her ear got ripped open, and I'll still occasionally find like a blood droplet on the ceiling, or, that was like 2008 or something that happened.
Yeah.
And she had to go to the vet, and it wasn't super serious, but like I could have gotten bitten like that. And I was like, this is not an okay situation. Like they're having more fights, right? It's sort of escalating the pace, and I get why it happened, right? Like, right. I could have been calmer about it, but at the same time, I should be able to like shoo them out of the way and be like, get the fuck out of the way, and not have them start doing that.
Yeah, and this house it is just built to exacerbate it a little bit because it kind of funnels them into sharp corners and stuff together. But it's not just the house. They're just
that's right.
both, and they're a little bit on edge, but neither of them, and it's usually Remy who loses it first.
Yeah.
Neither of them should be nipping at each other.
There are 0 situations where that should happen.
Yes.
This house definitely makes it easier for it to happen because they are on top of each other and they're in the way, right? If we were in Florida, I wouldn't have to so aggressively be like, get out of the way to let this one dog through. It's all cramped here, but there's no situation in where it's okay that they have any aggression with each other.
Correct.
And so I texted Michael, the trainer, and I was like, listen, like, I don't know how we're going to deal with this. Like, we're going to have to keep them separated for now, which we did for 36 hours.
Yeah, there was crate and there was in your office and yep.
They could not both be out at the same time because I'm like, I'm not going to deal with this right now.
Yeah, which worked, but it comes at a price, right? Like someone was whining or barking in the office or, Nacho was bored in the crate and it feels bad.
Yeah, it's highly inconvenient. It's kind of emotionally distressing to have a dog barking at you or crying because they don't like it. But I don't want to get chomped on and we can't have them fighting. And so I was like, Michael, what the heck? And he's like, do you want to rehome Nacho? And I was like, Remy's the problem. He's like, yeah, but nobody wants him. And I was like, yeah, that's correct. Like nobody wants him. And so he has had them, he had a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at the pet resort. And Wednesday afternoon, he took them from the pet resort to his house where they have been staying. So they stayed overnight with him Wednesday. They're staying overnight with him tonight, Thursday. And we're going to pick him up on our way. Well, we're kind of going to take a diversion on our way down to Florida, go up to Michael's house and pick him up. So he's been working with them. And some of it's just good advice about, like, he's taught Nacho to go into a down. And he's like, don't let Nacho out without having him in a down. And like that prevents the situation where they run into each other. And
it makes him calmer, right? It doesn't make him as hyper.
Yeah, it's very nice not having them here now while we're adapting Cheddar. But it's going to have to be a big change in our routine where we cannot just open the door and let everybody go out because you don't know if they're going to bump into each other or try to squeeze through at the same time. And Nacho's not necessarily going to listen if Guac and Remy are running out and you're trying to calm him down, right? We're still going to have to do some level of like separation or control and work pretty consistently with like, you have to sit and you have to stay and you can't just run out the door, which is not a thing we normally do. We like it to be more relaxed than that, but like, this is the situation that we're in. And honestly, like Remy is the problem, right? He's the one who gets aggressive and then Nacho will engage with it. But if Nacho would settle the fuck down, it wouldn't be an issue, right?
That's right.
If Nacho becomes a calm dog,
that's right,
Remy's not going to have anything to react against. I don't think Remy is really fixable because he's fine most of the time. And Mike was testing all this. He's like, giving him food together, taking food away, like doing all sorts of stuff to try to get them on edge so he can see what's happening and find ways to interrupt it because he's got a bunch of staff there, right? He can step in and stop problems from happening. And he's like, they're fine though. I could do this. I mean, he saw them fight, right? So it's not like he's like, I don't think they're actually fighting. Like he saw it happen. But he's just giving good advice on like, these are the scenarios where it happens. And it's when they're both really amped up and Nacho's the one that we can work on more to get him not amped up.
Right.
So. Right.
Which is generally a good idea anyway, right? If we can get Nacho to not snap for the ball and not, run out the door and bang into other dogs and stuff. These are all good things
it's
anyway.
So good. Yeah. But it's going to take work, right? And
yep.
And this is a thing where like
if we had one dog, we could really work on him.
For sure. And it's hard, right? And this is the sort of thing where like I will get all dictatorial and be like, do this, but like you're the one letting him out a lot of the time. Yep. And so it's easy for me to be like, this is going to be the process when like you're the one who's up at 6:30 in the morning dealing with it.
But it is doable. It just has to be another step. Yeah.
I mean, it's like after the fight, like you got home from dinner and I was like, sit down. Like, we need to talk about a plan. I really need us to be on the same page.
All I heard was we need to talk. And I was like, oh, no.
Listen, everybody, when your partner is like, we need to have a talk, if you go, oh, no, it makes your partner want to talk to you. So don't follow the GR Dad example here. Every time I'm like, we need to have a conversation. And he goes, I go like, now I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Which is somehow worse.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I did not win.
Yeah. So don't make that sound when people say they want to talk to you.
Not weirdly. I never win.
That's not true.
Well, it's not win or loss.
I mean, that is true. But I was like, this can't be one of those things where, like, you know, we have this like sort of playful and sort of frustrating dynamic where I'll be like, if we just do this thing, it will solve the problem. I will do the thing, but I need you to also do the thing. And you're like, okay. And then you don't do the thing. And I'm like, God damn it, Ingo. Like, why won't you do the thing? And like, I'm not really mad about it, but also like, it would be nice if you did the thing, but like, it's fine. Right? Like, this is a dynamic we have about a lot of dog stuff, and it's fine.
Right.
I was like, this cannot be one of those things. Like, we 100%, you know, until Michael has these dogs, they cannot be out at the same time because I don't trust them and I don't want to deal with this, and we need to be on the same page. And you were great, right? I mean, like, we did it, we stuck with it.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have to figure out what that new plan looks like.
Right.
For when we're back. And we have no idea how Cheddar is going to affect that. Like, he's not really going to cause problems, but he may get in the way. And Remy and Nacho have just barely met him because we didn't need to cause any more stress with that. So who knows what they're, you know, is Remy going to be a dick around Cheddar? You know, who knows? I don't think there's going to be problems between them, but is it going to just add an extra source of tension? I don't know. So we'll figure it out, but it's frustrating. This is the thing that I did not want in kind of moving into this space of taking in a lot of dogs, was this kind of dynamic. I can deal with health problems. I can deal with vet visits. I can deal with complicated medications. I can deal with hand feeding, like whatever. But I absolutely explicitly did not want tension between the dogs and having to kind of worry about this. And Remy, from the first day we got him, has been that kind of problem. And it just is. And we kind of didn't have a choice, right? Like, they were like, I guess we could board him if you guys can't take care of him.
No.
But like, no other fosters would step up and take him. But we kind of knew from the beginning, like, this is a problematic addition into the squad. He's a very good boy, but and if he were our only dog, there would be zero problems.
Yes.
But to have, you know, even if we did just have 5 dogs, he still would be a problem with the 5 dogs. Like, he just doesn't have the dynamic for this. But nobody's going to adopt a blind diabetic dog with lymphoma.
Right.
You know, like, even if we wanted to put him up for adoption. So, you know, it's just, you know, I love him. He's a nice man. Like, he's a very sweet, snuggly boy. But he is the thing that we meaning I have to be a lot more careful about, like, going forward. Like, that we don't want to take in another dog like that, because this sucks. And this is a problem that we're going to be dealing with for all the rest of the time that we have him.
Yeah. And when we were in Maryland and not in Florida, it was easier when we had dogs, because we've had dogs like this before where they just didn't gel right with the other ones. And then we just adopted them out. You would, you know, make sure they went to a good home where there was a good dynamic.
I think, like, Remy has just kind of cleared the point where he could have been adopted out, where he got kind of medically stable before he got the lymphoma. I mean, we adopted him before that.
He's a hardship case anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would have taken him. I mean, people will take a blind dog, people will take an old dog, but like a blind diabetic with like slight behavioral issues and lymphoma, like, no one would adopt that dog except us.
I think that's right. And I mean, yeah, it doesn't apply to Remy, but in general.
Yeah. I mean, like, we adopted him way before that, because it's like, I don't know, I don't know how you take care of a dog that sick for a year and not go like, okay, he's my dog now, even though it's problematic. Right. But
thank man.
It's fine. There's a
TV emu.
But yeah, so I guess it's more just like a general comment, right? Like, we've got all these dogs. It's lovely having all of these dogs. But, like, there's really specific...
Vink, shut up!
That's the M&M's, Vink.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Don't make me turn it off, Fink. It's hard having this many dogs, and there's really specific structures that we need in place to make it work. And Remy does not fit within what we need to make it work. And it's incredibly stressful with him and Nacho and this kind of dynamic and how it's been. And it sucks that we're now going to have to, like, you know, pretty significantly adapt the routine that we've had to make them not have these, to not risk having these kinds of problems.
Right.
There's just a lot more stuff we're going to have to do. And there's, like, just about the amount of stuff we can handle doing without that anyway. So, Ingo, I see you're getting tired, so I think we should move on.
Yeah, all that having been said, I think this will all be easier in Florida than it is here.
I guess, but we still have to, we have to do all the same precautions that we would have to do here that we have to do there.
Yes.
You know? And so that sucks. All right, we're going to skip the ramblings because poor Ingo is sitting on the couch and I see your eyes kind of closing and you yawning.
I'm fine.
You fell asleep in the middle of a story I was telling you yesterday. Do you remember that? Because you fell asleep because your eyes closed.
I deny any knowledge of this.
Okay.
No, let's finish dog update.
That's it. That's the end. We've just been rambling. I have just been rambling about that for a while.
Guac got new blow eyes.
Yes, good job. You went out and got him.
He loves them.
He does.
He can have them when Remy's not around and when Nacho's not around because they don't tear them to pieces.
Yep.
And yet, they wear out and one just got ripped up. So now I have new ones from IKEA.
You made an IKEA run just for the Guacamole.
Guac therapeutically needs a blowhigh or
He
an
does.
avocado, but we don't have any avocados here. So he's a happy dog with his avocado.
There's a giant squishable avocado upstairs if we need it.
Oh, really? How
Yeah.
big? Like the regular
I'm
size?
sorry. No, a giant squishable hamburger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be interesting. The hamburger instead of the
Old
avocado.
school.
Yeah.
All right, Ingo, my battery's dying, so we got to move fast.
Your
the rest.
battery or your computer?
The computer battery. Are you ready for Taste of the Keys?
Yeah. I
All
don't know. I mean, I'm bracing myself to be ready.
Navy sailor in Key West arrested in felony hit and run charge after bicycle crash.
Wow. Navy sailor on bicycle.
Key West police arrested a U.S. Navy sailor who is accused of hitting a bicyclist with her car and leaving the scene last month.
Oh, no.
Aylin Tudor, 22, faces a felony count of hit and run that caused serious bodily injury. She could not be reached for comment. There's a lot of stuff about that. She was released on a $50,000 bond on Tuesday, hours after her arrest on a warrant. It was not clear if she had legal representation. According to the arrest report, Tudor hit the cyclist around 1 a.m. on September 8th on Truman Avenue with her Hyundai Elantra. Security camera footage viewed by police showed the man's legs go up into the air and his head hit the street pavement, according to the report.
Aye.
So it's not just like, oh, she bumped the bike and he fell over sideways. Like, she
like,
hit him.
He flipped over the car, maybe.
Yep.
It sounds dramatic.
Paramedics took him to Lower Keys Medical Center to be treated for lacerations to the head. He did get a call, but he declined to comment. So the newspaper called him and he didn't comment. Key West officer George Mayorga Lopez wrote in his report that after hitting the bicyclist, the car's brake lights engaged for a couple seconds before the Hyundai continued on its way. Police say they matched a side view mirror found at the scene with a car found at Tudor's Northside Drive residence about 2 miles from the crash. Tudor is assigned to the military police at Naval Air Station Key West. Base officials could not immediately be reached for comment.
She's an MP and she did a hit and run? Oh, no.
At 1 a.m., so...
we know why she thought she would get a lower charge for this than for whatever she might have been doing, yes.
Yep. So there you go.
Oh,
That's Taste of the Keys.
a bad egg. That's a bad egg.
We will keep you guys apprised of
Or
updates.
a bad mistake. That's not good. You can't hit and run.
Nope.
Oh, that's especially a bicyclist. Poor bike.
All right, Ingo, it's time for German Word of the Week and Ingo Corner.
All right. Flutversager. A word I just learned and that I think has just been created in the last few years. There were there was significant flooding in Germany near the Rhine Valley. I mean, it was a different river, but it's last spring, I think it even was, spring of 2021. And apparently the regional politicians, regional government was informed about it at like midnight that this was happening.
These were big floods.
They were big floods. I mean, houses up to the top floor kind of thing, and people sitting on roofs almost. Cars getting swept away and everything. And one of the ministers, I think, said, I don't give a shit about a flood. And another minister said, well, this isn't really an emergency situation. I don't see anyone in dire need of assistance, and went back to bed, basically.
Yeah.
And so of course, when they woke up the next day, it was much worse, and some people may have already died. I think over 100 people died in this. And so the one minister had maintained that he wasn't really informed and he didn't really know, and the police just released a video that they showed him from a police helicopter that showed like houses being swept away and houses underwater till the roof, up to the roof. And that's what he had testified and said, well, I saw that video and it didn't seem there was any emergency. And he basically said, I'm not ordering any emergency services. And he just resigned. He was forced out. Mm-hmm. And there's been a couple of them who've been forced out. And they're called Flutversager, which means flood failers. Versager is a failure, is someone who fails at something. And so there's now a word for these politicians who've completely failed to respond adequately to this deadly flood that happened a year and a half ago. And it's, but it's nice that there are consequences. It's nice that someone is losing their job over this. Yeah. Right? The feeling was that the response was completely inadequate and very delayed. And, in America, you get used to nothing happening there. It's fine. There's no consequences. I mean, Katrina was a freaking disaster, but in part because of the response.
I mean, Lee County should be like that here.
Yep.
Like 100 people died in Lee County from Hurricane Ian, basically because they didn't evacuate it according to their own plan.
Right. And Is
anything going to happen? No.
No. And in Florida, everything's corrupt enough that nothing's going to happen. And it's just encouraging in German to have these people be labeled as failures in the face of a flood and, removed from office. So that's nice.
Flutversager.
New specific word. Yeah, not usually a word, not something you'd learn in your German course. It's a very specific word.
Can you use Versager like generally, like du bist ein Versager?
You're a loser. Du bist ein Versager. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah. Sometimes they call people who join the military Zivilversager, people who fail in civilian life, who have to have no other option but to join the military. In Germany, that's a bad thing.
Interesting.
Here, they're not as honest about it. Yes. So Flutversager, that's my German word.
Okay, you got anything for Ingo Corner?
No, it will be good to go back to Florida. I mean, yes, I guess I always say no and then I have something. Be good to go back to Florida. I'm spoiled waking up when it's 37 degrees or there's ice on the ground is jarring. And frankly, our skin is not used to this dry air anymore.
No, we're all crispy.
We're crispy. The dogs have weird bumps and allergies, and everything's different up here. Florida, we're used to the Keys now.
It's better down there.
I think we're soft. We're soft.
I like it.
Soft.
I mean, we can put up with a lot more heat than the average person.
That's true. We're strong the other way.
Yeah. Winter sucks. It's not even winter.
It's not. It's like fall.
Mid-fall.
It's like
sucks.
Actually glorious fall right now here.
No, I hate it. I mean, it's very pretty. It was most of the time we've been here. It's been like 75 degrees during the day. So.
Hopper misses her ocean and her fish and her swims.
Me too, Hops.
And it's just gonna be nice to go back there.
All right, everyone. Well, next time we talk to you, we'll be from the Keys. Yep. Until then, Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
That is correct. Always.
Bye.
Bye.